All right, what's going on, everybody? Happy Monday. If this is your guys' first time tuning in, my name is Bryce, and this is going to be the pre-show. So in this 30 minutes, what we talk about is all things driving for dollars. It's really my job to help you guys maybe get your first, second, or third deal. So in this 30 minutes, what we're going to talk about is all things driving for dollars. I'm going to show you guys how to actually use the BatchDriven app. I'm going to show you guys what to actually look for. And then we're also going to hop on the power dialer and we're going to start cold calling some of the people that we added from previous weeks. So if you guys are brand new, if you guys are just starting out, let me know in the comments. That way I can show you guys kind of the first steps of how to get your first deal. Okay, but we're going to let a few more people hop in. Just want to let you guys know this is the pre-show. It is about 30 minutes. But in this 30 minutes, we're going to cover pretty much all things driving for dollars. If you guys have questions pertaining to even door knocking, I do door knocking quite a bit with a lot of the ride-alongs that come out. But we're just going to hop into it, guys. I'm going to share my screen, and I'm going to show you guys how to actually drive for dollars, or try to find an area for you guys to actually go out there, drive for dollars, what to look for, and then we're going to hop on the power dialer and we're going to start cold calling some of the leads. Okay, I'm going to share my screen, but it looks like we got some people hopping on. Hello from Michigan. Awesome. Good to see you on here. I'm new, been wholesaling for about 3 weeks. All right, let me know in the comments what you're doing for the start of your 3 weeks. What type of marketing are you actually doing? There's actually a stat out there that says 80% of all people who get their first deal get it from driving for dollars. And this is exactly how I got my first 2 deals, is covering everything that we're about to cover in this 30 minutes. Tanisha says, just signed up for BatchDriven yesterday. That is awesome. Hopefully, I think you are following me on Instagram, BatchDriven app. If you have any questions at all regarding BatchDriven, reach out to me and I'll be there as your support system. Hop on a phone call with you, whatever you need to get you going. Coming back at you. Zach, it's been a while since I've seen you, but I hear you're killing out there. You're staying consistent. Awesome, guys. So we're going to hop on here. Yes, reach out to me any time of the day. Doesn't matter. I'll be there to help you out. Awesome. So we're going to hop onto the BatchDriven app. And I'm going to show you guys kind of where to actually start driving for dollars. Now, you guys can see here that I've already been in this area. This is actually from some of our ride-alongs that we've done here in Phoenix. So if you guys are local, if you guys are in the Phoenix market, you guys can schedule a ride-along where we'll actually go knock doors, we'll drive for dollars, we'll cold call. We'll pretty much help you guys get your feet up, and so you can start hitting the ground running. But for this 30 minutes live, I'm going to show you guys kind of where to start. That's probably one of the biggest questions I get, is where do I start driving for dollars? And my answer is always, you need to talk to your cash buyers first, right? So if you go to your cash buyers, maybe you have 1 or 2 cash buyers, that's a good starting point. Talk to your cash buyers and figure out what zip codes, neighborhoods, counties that they're actually buying in, and start driving for dollars there. Because what happens is, if you get something under contract, you know that you can go to that cash buyer, and if you got it at a good price, you know you can sell it to them. Okay, so I've already done my due diligence. I know that cash buyers are buying in this specific area. And now what I'm going to do is I want to drive for dollars in a non-HOA neighborhood. Okay, the reason for that is because the point of driving for dollars is to add these physically distressed properties to your driving for dollars list. Okay, so it makes no sense to drive for dollars in an HOA neighborhood. Usually those are well maintained. So you want to try to find a non-HOA neighborhood that looks just like this. Okay, and there's a few ways or a few things to look for when it comes to finding a non-HOA neighborhood. One of the most obvious signs is going to be, trash, junk, maybe even has broken down cars in the backyard. A lot of people will look for empty pools, maybe tarps on the roof. That's going to be an indication that it's going to be a very distressed area. So I'll kind of show you guys what to look for. Let me zoom in a little bit. Okay, and I've already added some of these houses, so that's why you see the new. But you can see like the house 4649. If you guys look close at that, you can see all of the trash, all of the junk in the backyard. This is going to be a good area if you want to start driving for dollars, either physically or you can even do this virtually, kind of like we're doing now. But then you can kind of just scan the area. You can just move around. A lot of these areas you can see, like this has an empty pool. This has trash or junk in the backyard. I know if I physically go drive for dollars or knock in this neighborhood, I know that this is a non-HOA neighborhood, and I know that I can get a hold of a ton of people, right? So whenever we go out there, we want to hit a minimum of 50 houses every single day. But if you're just starting out, you're brand new, I would say hit a minimum of 25 to 30 properties. Okay. And that's why it's so important for you to drive for dollars in a non-HOA neighborhood. That way you can be most efficient when you're actually out there in the field. Okay. So I'm just kind of looking around. Looks like there's some cars in the backyard. Looks like there's a lot of trash. And let's actually show you guys. Let's see if we can find another one that looks like this one here, right here on the corner lot, 4649. Let's take a closer look at that. So all we would do is just drop the peg man down. Oops. Looks like we went into the alleyway. So let me go back up. Okay, we're just going to drop this little peg man right in front of this house. We're going to try to locate that one house that had a bunch of trash, a bunch of junk. Okay, this is the house for sure. You guys can see all of the trash, all of the junk. These are the type of houses that we need to be adding. And I do also have some pictures of houses that fit the 4 pillars that we talk about, and we'll kind of deep dive into that later throughout the video. But this is going to be a perfect example of a house that you want to add to your driving for dollars list, right? So I believe this one was absentee owner. So if I'm door knocking, here's kind of a quick tip too. If you're out there in the field and you're door knocking, you do not want to go and talk to absentee owners. You only want to talk to owner occupied, because tenants are living in this property. It does not make sense for you to go up there, talk to the tenants. So this is going to be a property where you would actually add it to your driving for dollars folder, skip trace it, and then cold call it later on throughout the day. Okay, so I would never knock this house. It's an absentee owner. So that's kind of a tip there. But you guys can see this is for sure a non-HOA neighborhood. If this was an HOA neighborhood, this would not fly. Okay, and then you can kind of just scan through the neighborhood, look at the other houses that might have, other signs of distress. This one has Merry Christmas on there. A lot of these houses have poor landscape that we talked about. But you can see here, there's going to be a dumpster. Let's see if it's there. You guys can see this dumpster here. That could mean that there's some cash buyers already buying in this neighborhood. And that's a cool thing about actually going out there in the field and driving for dollars, is you can actually see these things, right? You can see, that this is a cash buyer probably. It looks like they have new windows. You can go up there, talk to them, kind of build up your business portfolio, try to find, landscapers, painters. That's how a lot of people get started in the fix and flip business as well, is just going up there, having that conversation and talking to these people. Okay, so that's kind of what you're wanting to look for as far as how to pinpoint a neighborhood. So let me go back onto the aerial street view. After I've kind of located a neighborhood, kind of an area for you to start, the next thing that you're going to do is you're going to choose one of the first houses on the first road, right? It doesn't make sense for me to copy and paste the address on, a house in the middle of the neighborhood. It makes sense for me to do it on one of the first houses on the first street. That way I can easily drive to this area and I know, okay, this is the area that I'm going to be driving for dollars in, right? So I would just copy and paste this address here, put it in my maps, and I'd actually physically go out there and start driving for dollars. Okay, but hopefully that answers, I get that question all the time. So hopefully that kind of answered that. Okay, let me go back and see if we have any questions. Awesome. So bandit signs, sending out text message, and some driving for dollars. Never used BatchDriven, but I want to try it. Yeah, if you want to try it out, you can actually go to batchdriven.com/squad up. And that's going to give you a 7-day free trial and also 50 free skip traces. And if you do, it doesn't matter if you are following or a subscriber to BatchDriven. If you go to the BatchDriven app on Instagram, we put out daily content to help you guys. I'm there in the direct messages. You can talk to me personally if you have any questions pertaining to driving for dollars. I have a list of 100 driving for dollar properties I need to skip trace. That's a good start. That's a good start. I would say minimum of 25 to 30 properties every single day. Brandon, so I personally thought that the driving for dollars images on Google, like the aerial street view, let me pull that up. So I personally thought that this was updated on a weekly basis, but turns out it's not. I don't have an exact answer for you. I do apologize. But let's go down to the aerial, or not the aerial, but the street view, and it will actually tell you when it's updated. So you can see on the bottom right-hand corner, it says image date was taken February 2020. So that's something to keep an eye out if you guys are actually virtually driving for dollars. You want to make sure that the house has not sold past 2020. So that one says an invalid sale date, and I'll show you guys an example. Okay, let's say that this house, hits 2 or more of the 4 pillars. So that one also has an invalid date. Let's try to find one that does. Okay, here's a good example. Let's say that we were driving for dollars virtually, from this app, and it says that the image date was taken February 2020. But you can see here, it says the sale date was 7/16/2018. Okay, so this is a house that I would add if this was still distressed, right? So chances are this house still looks the same. However, if this was, a sale date of 7/16/2021, a sale date after when the photo was taken, I would not add it, right? Chances are someone's already bought it. Someone's going to fix it up and clean it up. So that's kind of an easy way for you to cross-reference when you're actually out there driving for dollars virtually. Like this one, sale date 1996. Chances are that house still looks the same. So hopefully that answers that question. Driving for dollars. Yes, we are driving for dollars, kind of showing you guys what to look for, how to get started, that sort of thing. Brenda says that program is excellent for me because I don't have a car. Got hit in the rear in 2016. I've got to use it. Is there a monthly fee? So Brenda, hopefully you're doing a lot better. There is a monthly fee. It's one of the cheapest ways for you guys to get started. The base plan is the same plan that I used to get my first 2 deals. It's only $49 a month. Okay, super reasonable. $49. You can drive for dollars virtually. You can actually pull lists from here. Also came out with a comping tool, so you can use BatchDriven as a comping tool as well. But you can also skip trace and cold call some of these people, which is, we'll actually try this one right now. So just to kind of show you how easy it is to actually come on here, drive for dollars virtually. This one honestly is not too distressed, so I personally would not add it, but for the purpose of, giving you an example, showing you how to actually do it, we'll actually just skip trace this one for you. So I'm going to put this one into one of the folders that we add. Okay, we'll just do that one. But you can see it's going to give us the owner's information. It's owner occupied. Looks like she's owned it for about 24 years and 7 months. So if I wanted to cold call this person, I could just skip trace it right from the app. Hopefully it comes back. And you're going to get a list of phone numbers. Okay, you can see there's probably at least 10 phone numbers. Don't worry. You just want to call the first 3. We found that those are typically going to be the most accurate. And if you notice, the first 2 are going to be mobile phone numbers, and the last one is going to be a landline. So you can literally do it just like this. You can call this person, which will plug this into another application. Let me pull that up real quick. But hopefully this kind of makes sense to you guys as really how easy it is to get started. Okay, I'm logging on to an application on the computer. That way you guys can actually hear the conversation if she answers. Okay, so I'm going to copy paste this phone number. I'm going to put it into batch leads. We're going to call it and see if she's open to selling. Okay, we're looking for Maria.
Please leave your message for 602930633.
Okay, the reason why I always wait until the voicemail is because a lot of times they'll tell you, hey, this is Maria. You missed me at a bad time. Call me back. That way I know the first number is the correct information. And that's kind of the tricky part about cold calling is we don't know which phone number is the correct information. Okay, so we're going to try the second phone number. So we know that the first one, it wasn't a bad phone number, but we don't know if it's the right one. So we're going to try the second one. So we're going to copy, paste this, call it. And this is kind of, if you do not have a budget, where if you don't have a power dialer, which I'm going to show you guys how to cold call within the power dialer. This is a good option for you guys as well, as just start hand dialing all the numbers. It does take a lot longer. However, I mean, if you are on a budget, this is a great way to get it done.
The person you are trying to reach is not accepting calls at this time. Please try your call.
Okay, so second phone number, no good, or wasn't accepting calls. So let's try the third one. If not, no big deal. But I just wanted to kind of show you guys how easy it is to pull up some information.
The number you have dialed is invalid. Goodbye.
Okay, and that's, that happens when you're cold calling. The information is not 100% accurate. However, we do know that the first and second phone numbers are good phone numbers. So I'm going to make a note of that. So what I'll do within the BatchDriven app is I'll actually go to the bottom and I'll type in 12. Okay. So this means when I go back and I start calling through these numbers again, I know that only the first and second phone number are correct information. Okay, we'll go back. And then because we already started calling, this is how easy it is. You can start currently marketing. So because we've already called this person, I'm going to market currently marketing, then I can go back, keep track of the houses that I've already called. Awesome. So let's see if we have any questions. Yeah, Eric brings up a great point. Be careful of the date when doing it virtually. Some street views haven't been updated in years. Yeah, Eric, if that happens, just look at the sale date. Make sure it's not after when the photo was taken. Let's see. I found a house abandoned, overgrown. It is in a revocable trust. The address associated with the trust is the address of the house. So I would still try to, BatchDriven can actually skip trace LLCs as well as trust. So it's not going to hurt to skip trace it. Maybe you can get a mobile phone number, and then I would start giving them a call. Yep, Eric, thank you so much. Yeah, I have that issue here in Indiana. Most cities haven't been updated since 2013. Yeah, Zach, that does suck. Maybe you can, physically drive for dollars if you do have the time. But a lot of people, like the ability to drive for dollars virtually, especially if they have a 9-to-5 job or like they don't have a vehicle like she mentioned, Brenda mentioned before. Okay, so Martine says, I am new to real estate investing. What is skip tracing and how do you do it? So skip tracing allows you to actually, when you hit skip trace, it gives you a phone number back that allows you to either cold call or send SMS or mail campaigns. So within the BatchDriven app, and Martine, this is just the pre-show, okay? So within the pre-show, what we talk about is the BatchDriven app, how to actually drive for dollars. But if you wanted to actually cold call, let's say this homeowner like we just did, you would literally just hit skip trace and a list of phone numbers are going to come back. And that allows you to actually start outreach. You can start the cold call and you can start SMS from this app. Great question. How much is it to skip trace in the app? I believe it changes per plan, but the base plan I believe is only 17 cents per skip trace. How do you arrange your list by foreclosures, probate, divorces? How detailed can you get? Yeah, if you wanted to pull like a pre-foreclosure list, you can organize them into specific folders. You can name it however you want. So it allows you to be very niche, very custom within this app. Brendan says, wow, that's amazing, given all the information right there. Thanks for demonstrating. I will watch this video at the same time I do it. Worked in a call center, not afraid to call. Yeah, that's the biggest thing, Brenda. If you want to follow me on BatchDriven app on Instagram, if you have any questions, I can help you get started in the business. So reach out to me on there. I'm pretty quick when it comes to answering my direct messages. Great question. What lists have given you the most success? I would definitely say driving for dollars, simply because it's a custom niche list that no one else has access to. Right? When you go and pull a giant list like a pre-foreclosure or maybe a probate, divorce, everyone else has access to that same list. And that's the point of driving for dollars, right? No investor is driving down the same road, is adding the same exact houses. So that's always going to be the best list. If you guys are driving for dollars and can't see the address on the property, it's usually 2 numbers up or down from the property next door. Yep, what Tay says. Awesome, guys. So I'm going to now, we got about 5 more minutes, so I'm going to hop on the power dialer unless we have any more questions. Actually, I need to show you guys what to look for before you actually go out there and drive for dollars, because that's a big question that comes up as well. We had some good questions today, so I'm going to share my screen. These are actual houses that we took today. So let me show you guys what houses you should be adding before you actually go out there and drive for dollars. Okay, so when we talk about adding houses to your driving for dollars list, we talk about the 4 pillars. Okay, so the 4 pillars, number 1 is going to be poor landscape. So you can see here, maybe there's no grass, maybe the weeds are 3 to 4 feet high. That's going to be poor landscape. Now, the second thing that we talk about is exterior distress. So maybe some of the windows are broken, some of the windows are boarded up, maybe that the paint is starting to chip, maybe the fascia board is starting to deteriorate. That's a factor of exterior distress. Now, the third thing that we look for is a damaged roof, right? Maybe the shingles are falling off. Maybe there's a blue tarp on the roof. When Pace and I were knocking doors on Saturday, there was one house that had maybe 7 or 8 bricks on top of the house, just kind of holding down the roof so it didn't blow away. And the last and final thing, the 4th pillar, are going to be broken down cars or trash or junk. So as long as it has 2 or more of those 4 pillars, then you're going to add it to your driving for dollars list. Okay, so this one does have 2. Another cool feature about the BatchDriven app is if you're physically driving for dollars and you come across a property that looks like this, where there's just poor landscape, you can actually pull up the app and you can look into the backyard and you can see if there's trash, junk, or broken down cars. And that's why we added this one. Okay, so this one has 2 or more of the 4 pillars, so we added that to our list. This one, we actually got out and door knocked. You can see we have a little green sticky note on the door. So we got out and door knocked this one. This one has an old AC unit. This one's going to have a damaged roof and poor landscape. So we're gonna add that one to our driving for dollars list. And then this one as well. I think my girlfriend's coming home right now. So I think I locked it. Hold on. Okay, so like this one here, guys, this one's going to have a bunch of trash, a bunch of junk. It's going to have a damaged roof as well. So this one has 2 of the 4 pillars. So that's going to be an example of a house that you would add. Okay. And I believe we have one more. This one as well. This one has broken down car. You can see that little green car, trash or junk. The roof is not as damaged as I thought it would be. But we decided to add it because, it's not going to cost too much to skip trace it and start calling this person. But at least you guys were able to kind of see, firsthand examples. These were actual houses that we added from today. So just keep in mind when you're out there driving for dollars, make sure it hits 2 or more of the 4 pillars before you add it to your list. Okay, and that's going to be, let me see if we have any questions. Thanks for the help. Yeah, of course, man. I appreciate this is what I get paid to do. So I appreciate you hopping on here. When you add a driving for dollars list, how are you labeling and organizing the list? So I always organize it by the week. This allows us to pull that data, put it in the power dialer, and we can stay nice and organized. But hey, Rylan, if you have any questions, reach out to me, BatchDriven app on Instagram, and I will be there to hop on a phone call with you or even show you a little demo. But that is going to be it, guys, for the pre-show. We got about 1 more minute until the main show starts. But I appreciate you guys hopping on. Hopefully you guys got some value today. And I look forward to hearing what Pace, Brent, and Jamil have to say. Awesome, guys. Thank you.
Welcome to Wholesale Hotline, where we cover everything to do with wholesale real estate. I'm Jamil Damji.
I'm Brent Daniels.
And I am Pace Morby.
And together we cover the most important parts of wholesale real estate.
Lead generation.
Conversion of sellers into contracts.
And dispositions. Guys, remember when you're watching this show, do us a favor and squad up in the comments.
Make sure that you are liking and subscribing to the YouTube channels and in the Facebook group Wholesale Hotline.
Most important, we want to know we're doing a great job for you and helping you build your business. So go give us a review on iTunes and or Spotify.
So squad up and enjoy the show.
Wholesale Hotline number 68. Gentlemen, this would be, and as before Pace introduces the 4th host of the show, incredible host. That's wild. I want to read this. This book came out in 2005. You guys have this book? You guys seen this book? It's been around?
Yes, it's a great book.
It talks about squatting up on page 169. You know what its 5 rules of squatting up are? They call it engagement, 5 rules of engagement. We call it squatting up here on Wholesale Hotline. Number 1, do deals. Number 2, keep your word. Number 3, don't talk bad about anyone. Number 4, don't shortchange anyone. And number 5, which leads us beautifully like a red carpet into our desk. Number 5, refer business to your work network. Isn't that
Bro,
good?
did you pull that up specifically for this episode?
I did. Come on, man.
That's so good. That's so
Come
good.
on. Of
So
course.
number 1 is do deals.
Yep.
Number 2 is, what was it?
Number 2 is keep your word. 3, don't talk bad about anyone. Number 4, don't shortchange anyone. Number 5, refer business to your work network.
Unfortunately, a lot of those items on number 2, 3, and 4 happen quite often in this industry, and that's what we're trying to change here. I get stories with people that are like, oh yeah, I went into this relationship where we're going to 50-50 a deal, and then next thing you know, the guy took the deal and I never heard from him again. And man, we hear it so frequently. We're trying to change the game, guys. And today, on today's Wholesale Hotline, one of my good friends, Rilus Dana. Jamil, you know you've made money with Rilus Dana. Sometimes you haven't known about it. But Rilus Dana and I have done a lot of deals together. We've spent a couple of years becoming really, really good friends. And Rilus Dana is a probate, everybody that loves some probate attorney and estate planning attorney here in Phoenix, Arizona. He's got a couple of offices. He's licensed in multiple states. And this guy's information runs super, super deep. What I want to talk about today is I know there's going to be a lot of questions in the side chat about probate, the questions that we've probably answered 500 times, but we are happy to answer them 500 more times because sometimes that's what it takes. But we are also going to, sorry, Jamil, go ahead.
Well, I just wanted to jump in real quick and say, can we just define what probate is?
Oh, 1,000%.
Is probate what happens when you get abducted by aliens and they put you in a laboratory, or what?
No, that's called prostate. Probate? That's when you get probed. That's called prostate attorney. You don't want a prostate attorney. You want a probate attorney.
That's not what Rylus is going to talk about today.
So,
I mean, maybe. I don't know. He's a wild guy. I don't know.
He is a wild guy. The first question I always ask Rylus, and I'm going to ask him here in a second, is always, Rylus, what is probate? And I'm going to let you answer that in just a second, but I want to tell everybody what we have in store for them. Number 1, we're going to go through what is probate, why is it important? Number 2, we're going to go through Rilus Dana is one of literally probably 50,000 probate attorneys and estate planning attorneys in the nation. How can you go out and do deals with them? How Jamil and I have made deals specifically from doing deals with Rylus, this actual man on this screen. And then finally, I want to talk to you guys about a couple of things that you can do to walk into a probate attorney, their office, or meet them somewhere else now that we've got this world of virtual stuff going on, and bring massive value to them. We're going to show you a new thing that Rylus and I are actually working on together that you guys can go to other probate attorneys in your own market and start leveraging this new resource. We're going to show you exactly our business model of this new little endeavor that Rylus and I have going on. So everybody in the side chat, please welcome Rilus motherfreaking Dana. He is the man. Can we get a bell for this man?
Oh, of course. Come on.
And guys, just so you know, as Rylus is introducing himself, just remember he is billing us by the hour right now. So let's try and get as much value as possible. Rylus,
thanks. So good to be here with the what I call the Wholesale Holy Trinity. So I love this show. I'm usually watching every week. You know, I've learned so much from all three of you. So I'm honored to be on here as a guest. What is probate? Let's start there. What is probate? So probate, I think the simplest definition is it's a judicial process to change title of an asset out of the name of the deceased. So where it comes into play, if the person on title is dead, that's where probate comes in. Comes from a Latin word meaning to prove. So you got to prove who has the authority to sell that house, prove who has the authority over the estate. And there's lots of steps you got to go through to make sure that person paid their bills and that the estate is settled properly.
Okay, so that's why the state wants you to go through probate, is to make sure that if Johnny Smith inherits his father's house and there was no, and we'll jump into how to avoid probate here in a little bit, so I won't spill the beans there. But let's say you have to go through probate for Johnny Smith to get the property his dad left to him. The state wants to make sure that that estate is settled properly, meaning bills are paid and creditors are taken care of and all that kind of stuff. Is that what you're saying?
Yep, that's it. So I guess in real estate where people learn about probate for the first time is the title company sometimes. They think they're all ready to do a deal. And then title's like, wait a minute, your client's Johnny Smith, that this is titled in John Smith Sr. Where is he? Oh, he's dead. So then you got to prove.
Wait a minute, Rylus. Johnny Smith is holding a will that his dad wrote and said that Johnny gets the house.
Yeah, that's not enough for the title company. Title company doesn't want to look at the will. Title company is going to want to see that the actual title is transferred. They want to make sure that the person signing has the authority.
Okay, so a will does not avoid probate all the time, right?
Correct.
Does it avoid probate ever?
No, not in the states that I practice.
Damn,
Arizona,
isn't that
California.
interesting? I know Jamil and Brent know this. We sometimes have to pretend like we don't know stuff just so, we act surprised, like, oh shit, there's a skeleton in the closet. But it is super interesting when I learned this years and years ago that a will does not give somebody the right over a property in order for them to sell it. Now, they can move into their, deceased father's home and they can rent it out and they can do other things with it, but they can't take title to that home and then rightfully sell that property without a probate, correct?
Correct. So sometimes it'll be several years. They've been living in the house, dad died years ago, but they have his will and they know where it's transferred, that they know that they're the new owners according to that will, but they've never gone through the process.
Got it. So how can I avoid probate? If I'm Johnny Smith and I'm in here, by the way, Rylus, you are frozen. Your teeth, you look like Skeletor. Just
I'm frozen. That's is that what you guys are laughing at?
Yeah, they're sitting here texting each other. It's like,
am I unfrozen now?
They're like, can we push the unfrozen button?
I'm gonna take you off the screen and put you back on. So hold on a second. That was so funny, dude. I was like, what's he laughing about? And then you're sending a text message.
Well, it's like serious. You're like going deep into this, like, wait. How do you transfer title?
He's in the most painful. He's in the most painful position ever. He's like,
Rylus. Hey, Rylus, I'm going to kick you from the studio and bring you. Just come back in, okay? Come back into the studio, Rylus. Anyway, Rylus is hilarious, man. That was really good. I didn't know that originally. I had to find this out the hard way. I went and locked up a deal with a seller, and the seller's like, yeah, I've got the will. In the will, it states that the house is mine. And I'm like, yes. And I go down, we open up escrow, and we find a buyer. And then the buyer comes in, or the title company comes in and says, there he is. Now he's not frozen.
There he is. And it's super clear now. Yeah, that looks way better.
There he is. So what ends up happening on this deal is I find out that you have to go through probate. Now, Rylus, let's ask a question. I know this is probably not for this show, but just really quickly, let's say that it's Brent, it's Jamil, it's Pace. We never want our children to have to go through probate in order to take over our estate. How do we prevent that?
So you're going to want to create a revocable trust to manage your assets. And basically what a trust does is it designates who's going to be in charge after you're gone, where your stuff's going to go, and when and how it's going to get there. So the most obvious example is the case of minor children. You can't send something to a minor, someone under 18. So you'd want to at least have someone appointed to manage it until they turn 18. And even at 18, if it's a large amount of money, usually it's better to wait a later age.
Okay, so if I get what would you say an average revocable trust costs for a family? If I'm doing estate planning, what would that cost? Not necessarily your price, but just kind of industry average.
Yeah, probably a couple $1,000s, somewhere around there.
So you're telling me for a couple $1,000s, I can avoid probate, which ends up costing anywhere between $5,000 to $25,000. And sometimes upwards of 6 months. And you and I have done a deal that went through probate, and it took the brothers 3 years to go through probate. And you're still dealing with it.
I'm still dealing with it. I'm still dealing with that one. So
a year after we did the real estate transaction, and Rylus did get paid on that real estate transaction. So I want to talk today about how Rylus gets paid on his referrals to me, and we do deals
together. I bought
together.
these microphones.
Bro, oh, you did? Is that microphone from that deal?
Yeah. It's like, Heck yeah, I'm doing deals with Pace. I will buy the Joe Rogan microphones.
I love it, dude. It's awesome. That's so good. Okay, so I want to avoid probate. I don't want my kids to have to go through any of that stuff. The way to do that is to get a revocable trust, and that usually costs a couple $1,000.
Yeah, and more than the money, it's about the time and the hassle. Do you want your loved ones cursing you, after you're gone? We hear it a lot in our office. They're like, why did they put me through this? Why do I have to go through all of this?
So wholesalers can buy your houses. That's why.
Yeah.
Okay, so Scott Barker is saying he's already learned a lot in just 10 minutes. So I really do appreciate starting off basic. Here's a question for us right here. Rylus, do you work in California?
Yes, I'm also licensed in California and Arizona.
Okay, and so anybody that's in California, hit up Rylus. He'd love to do some business. Anybody that's in Arizona, Rylus can help you out as well. One thing I can tell you is that Rylus is super, super helpful. Rylus, do you have a YouTube channel or anywhere that people can watch a live stream with you on a weekly basis?
Yeah, so I have a YouTube channel, Mont Legal, M-A-A-T, Mont Legal. You can find me there. I share information there.
Love it. Okay, cool. So
say it again.
So it's Mont, M-A-A-T. So Mont is the Egyptian goddess of law and order.
Awesome.
So that's where the name comes from.
We've got Chris James asking, where can we contact you? And Junior Sanchez, same thing. Contact information, please.
Yeah, my website is danalegalhelp.com. Or I just set this up too. I just set up rylusdanalaw.com. We'll forward all my stuff.
I feel like today's going to be a really good Q&A session, if you guys don't mind, Jamil and Brent, because we've got some good questions in here. Abuid Rosa says, what is the benefit of a wholesaler buying a property before probate or after? Now, here's the reality, and tell me where I'm wrong. Actually, I'm going to let Rylus answer this. Rylus is going to have a correction to this question.
It depends. That's always the lawyer answer.
Right.
It's going to be after the probate. It can't be before. So someone's got to have the authority. So you got to do the probate if that is the situation, if there's a dead person on title. The benefits, the reason I've done deals with Jamil even before I knew we were doing deals is I like to liquidate things. If we got to split things 5 ways, it's hard to divide up a house 5 ways. So we can, liquidate it and cash splits up a lot easier.
Yeah, so let's be really clear on this, because I want to make sure this question that was asked, I love the question because it gives us the opportunity to give you a wonderful answer. What is the benefit of a wholesaler buying a property before probate or after? Your question really is saying, should I buy the property before probate or should I buy the property after probate? And Rylus's answer was, you legally do not have the right or the ability to buy the property before probate. Now, I have done deals where I sign a contract. I actually did this with Brent Daniels.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Brent Daniels refers a no equity deal to me. It was about a year ago or so. And I go to the appointment. I get the seller under contract. The seller was like, we don't know what to do. We can't afford probate and we need to sell the house. We were just thinking about letting the house go to foreclosure. And I go, no problem. I'm going to get you into a purchase and sale agreement. I know very well that purchase and sale agreement will not hold up in court because I technically signed a contract with a seller who did not have the right to be the seller or the ability to make a decision on behalf of her deceased mother. But I did it for the psychological feeling of, hey, we've signed an agreement. And this is what I told her. I said, here's what's going to happen. I'm going to pay for the probate, which I did. I hired Rylus. Rylus took the property through probate. It was a house on Adobe. And then once we took the property through probate, what did I do, guys? I went to the seller and I said, okay, now it's time to re-sign a new purchase and sale agreement, which now is the only valid purchase and sale agreement because now she had the authority to sell that property. But I did the first contract to psychologically marry the seller and make her feel like, you know what, I'm in an agreement with these guys, albeit it won't hold up in court. I have given my word on paper that I am intending on selling the house. So I have ran into, even recently, Rylus, you had a situation going on locally. We won't name any names, obviously, but you get wholesalers that go lock up sellers into contracts before the seller even has the right to sign on behalf of that contract, right?
Yeah. So, going back to the deal you did, so you knew there was going to be a probate and you brought him to me, right? So
Right.
you helped him get started with it. And what I've had is where, I've done a probate and then we figure out that there's another contract out there that they signed with someone else before or at some period of time,
Right.
before the probate was done. And, one of the ones that happened a while ago, Pace also brought me that deal. And
What was rule number one and rule number 5 of squatting up? I forgot.
Do deals and refer business to your work network.
Amazing. So I've got 1 and 5 covered. Love it.
You got it, brother.
Yeah. I started watching this show because I know you guys are doing deals. You guys are doing deals, so you have the experience. You can talk about real life. It's not like what could happen. You have a lot of experience.
But with
Dude,
this, Rylus,
you guys reading these comments? People are loving this.
yeah,
They're eating us up. There's so many questions.
Yep. So Rylus,
Bro, Rylus, just in case you can't see the comments, hold on a second. Check this out. Myron Stanford says, this information is so powerful. Guys, we're only 19 minutes into an hour and a half show. This information is so powerful. Thank you, Rylus. Ben Diaz says, this is so valuable. Lawrence says something like, let's freaking go. Then Angel says, that was very good. Dropping gold. Tons and tons of comments just like this. So guys, if you are getting value, keep it up. We love seeing these comments. Also, I would love, while we have an hour and 10 minutes left to go, please share this in other Facebook groups. Let everybody know we're on here. Let's get a ton of viewers getting this content, because Rylus he is billing us. I think he's $5,000 an hour, guys, and he's worth it. But no, you're not. He's not billing us. We do deals together. So
I've learned so much from this, man. I've learned probably more than I could bill from this show. So
wow, thank you, Rylus. So let's go through a couple of Q&As. Actually, let's finish up that story because we were like hanging on there. I have a deal I signed literally a year and a half ago in the summer of like 2019. Okay, almost 2 years ago. I signed the deal. We still haven't closed escrow on this thing, by the way. We go open escrow. We find out that the guy, we have to go take it through probate. So who do I call? I call Rylus. Hey, Rylus, can you handle this probate? I forget the street name. Not important. We'll call it Banana Street. Okay. So Banana Street, we go, you know what? We're going to go through probate. So we go through probate. The mom is actually in a nursing home and the father had passed away. So we needed to transfer the ownership from the mom and dad over to the son who was actually selling the property to us, give him the right to sell it. Then it took so long that, not the probate, but this whole process took a long time. The seller decides, I'm going to go sign with somebody else in the meantime. This is going on literally right now. Here we are like 2 years later on this deal. And I get a call from a title company, and the title company calls and says, hey, Mr. Morby, we found out that you have a memorandum on this property. We would like you to release this memorandum so another investor can close escrow. I'm like, the F you are? I paid money for that probate. So Rylus, our probate attorney, jumps in, gets involved, and now we're negotiating with the other people. But guess what? The other people signed the contract before I had taken the property through probate. After we took the property through probate, we re-signed a new addendum, which gives me the right to buy the property, and the other wholesaler does not have the right to purchase the property. However, here's the sticky situation. There's still a memorandum on the property.
from them?
From them. So they didn't even have the legal right to purchase the house, but they filed a memorandum. Now I can go spend some money. And Rylus, tell me where I know this is not a real estate law question for you that you're like, damn, I don't know the answer. Maybe. But if somebody files a memorandum on a property and they don't have the right to even have purchased that home in the first place, that's probably not a good thing, right?
No, it's probably not a good thing. But the thing is it just locks it up. It just locks it up is what it does. And it's becomes kind of like a restroom contest is one of the ways I put it, like who's going to cave? Who's going to who's going to back out?
Who want the
Rylus, I'm confused. Why does the person who signed the contract before the legal probate even happened have a restroom in the fight?
Just because they filed something, because they filed a memorandum, and the court goes, oh, we don't know. There's something there. So it's enough where they can make an argument. It's enough where you can bring a lawsuit. There's a lot of crappy lawsuits. I'm sure you guys have seen them and been a part of them, right? You don't have to have a good claim or a good argument. It's just enough where the title company is going to go, oh, we don't know. We got this memorandum, we got this one. So you guys figure it out.
We offered the people with the memorandum, we offered them $1 to release their memorandum like 3 or 4 days ago. We're waiting to hear back.
Do we know who these people are, Pace?
I do know who they are. They're dirtbags.
They're the same guys They're the same guys that have been floating around town filing memorandums on every old lady's house.
Yep.
It is an actual old lady in a nursing home. It's the same people. So we don't want to name names and cause issues with people. Obviously it is what it is, but we offered them $1. And if they don't release their memorandum, then I'm going to be hiring Sean St. Clair, our real estate attorney, to go after them and I think they'll get a misdemeanor for filing a memorandum on a property that they had no right to file a memorandum. And then I can report them to the real estate board because they are actually licensed realtors as well.
Wow.
Super interesting that they're licensed realtors are doing that.
So when it comes to these memorandums, are you seeing these often, or is this kind of just something that, because a lot of people here, they're getting started, they're getting going, they're doing some deals, but maybe they're brand new, and you start throwing around these technical words and people are like, oh my gosh, this is like, I have to deal with this every time type of thing. Like, how often do you see this?
More often than I would like, I guess. Maybe that's just the lack of inventory in Phoenix and all the wholesalers where people are, looking hard for deals and you're doing whatever they can in some circumstances.
Sure.
But an attorney can be your deal killer, right? The probate attorney can kill your deal or they can make your deal. Since Pace brought the probate to me, to get it going, if there's another offer, it's like, that's weird. I've represented the personal representative. I'm the one that got them their authority. So why don't I know about this? I should know about anything that happens for the estate since that's what they hired me to do.
Yeah. And Rylus actually reached out to these wholesalers and he said, you are not to contact my client. I represent the personal representative. I am their attorney. Do not contact the seller of this home. And so a good probate attorney in your corner, guys, I am telling you, somebody like a Rilus Dana in your business is invaluable. And if you're in Arizona, I don't have claim to Rylus. Like, look at him, dude. You cannot put chains on that freaking wild man right there. Him and I do deals together, but it doesn't stop other wholesalers from working with him. If you guys are in Arizona or if you're in California, work with Rylus on stuff. He's amazing. Rylus reaches out to the wholesaler and says, do not contact my client. That is powerful. And they stopped contacting the seller, which was amazing. Is that what you're talking about, Rylus?
Yeah. And then I have my paralegal call him too. And it's be like, hey, call him and, explain that the other buyer is that they love lawsuits, that they're not going to back down. So, and we're just a probate attorney. We just want to close the probate. So that was my message to them. Like, hey, I just want to do the probate. I just want to get this closed, but we got a problem because there's 2 contracts here. And I know the first person, they paid for the probate. They've been working this deal all along. And I know that they will sue for specific performance. So,
what is specific performance, Rylus? I know what it is, and I've won. Actually, I just got a lawsuit paid out $3,500. It was about a year-long specific performance claim. But what is specific performance?
it means you have to follow the contract. It means that you got to do what the contract says.
Love it. So let's go through a couple of questions. A couple that are being asked in a way that I think that we don't quite understand this process quite yet. So let's jump into this. Raymond says, so to lock up a property before probate, I can file a memorandum? No, Raymond, that is not how it is done. A memorandum is a notice of interest in a real estate, in a property. It's a single document that says, hey, I have an interest in this property, meaning I'm planning on buying it. And you go file that document called a memorandum at the county recorder's office. Now it's done on deeds.com. Like most people just record a memorandum on deeds.com. And you go file a memorandum. It means I have a valid purchase contract with the seller. And I intend on closing or wholesaling, doing something with this contract. And I am not going to breach my side of the contract. And I put a memorandum on the property so that just in case somebody else decides I'm going to come in and offer $1 more to the seller and I'm going to try and snake this deal, the memorandum keeps another seller, or I'm sorry, keeps the seller from selling to another buyer. Okay. However, you have to have a valid contract in order to do a valid memorandum. Okay. And in order for you to have a valid contract and somebody who's going through probate, father, mother passed away, Johnny Smith is inheriting the house, that probate process of exchanging the ownership, the probate has to have been completed and there has to be a personal representative, somebody who is a decision maker. Now you sign a contract with that person, the decision maker. Now you can file a memorandum. You cannot file a memorandum before you go through the probate process. And so what we're talking about in this story is that another wholesaler who's kind of a snake in town knew that they did not have a valid purchase contract, but they also knew that if they filed a memorandum, the title company who found the memorandum is not going to argue that. They're just going to stop the transaction, and it's going to force me, who does have a valid contract, and the people who don't have a valid contract to negotiate. And the people who don't have a valid contract are hoping I just give them a check. And the number that they're always asking for, what do you guys see, Brent and Jamil? What do you guys see?
5,000, 10,000.
5,000 is what I see.
Can I make a
Ransom.
quick pause, Pace?
Yeah, go ahead.
Can you make me big real quick, Pace?
Yes, of course
Are
I
you able to
can.
do that?
Bro, you made
very-
yourself big by lifting your whole life. So
Hey, I want to give a shout out and a bell ring
yes.
to my 4-year-old Bo. Hey, Bo, I love you. I love you so much. What I need you to do right now is be really nice for your mom and give her a big old kiss on her mouth. All right? Don't shoot her with that Nerf gun you just got. Give her a big old kiss in the mouth. I'll see you in about an hour, buddy. Love you.
Bo's amazing. Everybody loves Bo.
Here you go.
He's watching on the big screen.
Is he gonna have big arms like his dad?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
No doubt about it.
Yeah, he's got a squatty DNA for sure.
He has the bazooka bananas on his arm, just humongous bazookas.
I think so. I think he'll get there. I mean, he needs to put in the work, Bo. Bo, you got to put in the work.
Love it, Bo. Good to see you, brother.
All right, back to it.
Okay, so 5K is what we typically see these guys holding. Jamil called it ransom. What's funny is I've never heard of it called that way, but that's how I feel when it happens.
It's extortion. It's extortion on every level, and it's criminal in my opinion. Every part of me wants to just go there and kick the shit out of these people, but I'm not in that life anymore. So we got to handle it properly.
Is that thug life?
Yeah.
And that's, that amount, that's probably like they're thinking you're going to have to pay an attorney at least that. Is that kind of what they're thinking? It's like, hey, you just pay me $5K or, they know it's going to cost at least that to go through the motions and do the lawsuit and all that stuff.
Dude, isn't that interesting that somebody would sit down and strategically come up with a dollar amount based on, oh, well, they're going to have to hire an attorney to fight my invalid contract and my invalid memorandum. So let's come up with a dollar amount where it's like a no-brainer that they just cut me a check because I'm a slimy piece of crap.
It's a scam. It's a scam. I mean, I've gone up against it where they forged the signature of the owner for the contract and then filed a memorandum on just ugly houses. They've never even spoke to the owner ever. I mean, just terrible.
That litigation, it gets so ugly. It's like bullying, they'll use their attorneys and they'll use their money and time just to try to get that ransom.
Yeah. By the way, we got a lot of really, really great questions. So guys, you cannot file a here's the funny thing is you can file a memorandum at any time. The problem is you run the risk of getting a misdemeanor and reported to the real estate board. So don't do that. Don't be an idiot. But you should file a memorandum once you have a valid purchase contract. And so that's what we're talking about. These guys are running around filing memorandums on houses and preventing people from buying them, even though they don't even have a valid contract. So Rylan Reed asks a question. Hey, Pace, how can we find our best probate lead sources in our own state and city so we can utilize this info and get them in our pipeline? So Rylan Reed, I think we should go through 5 or 6 different ways to get some probate leads, and we'll open it up for some Q&A. And Rylus and I will show you guys a couple of things at the very end of this episode, like the last 10 or 15 minutes of one of the things that Rylus and I are working on that you guys can all go implement right away. Okay. It's free and it's massive, massive value. So the first place I would go, if you guys don't mind, I'm going to kind of write this down for everybody so they can see it. The first place I would go is alltheleads.com. Okay. Alltheleads.com is really, really good with probate leads. Okay, that's all they do is they focus on probate leads. Okay, alltheleads.com. Number 2 is Successors Data. Is that the name of the website, Rylus? I forget.
I think so. Successorsdata.com.
Successorsdata.com. You can get probate and can you get pre-probate here at Successors Data?
Yeah, so I believe they have the pre-probate, just meaning someone's died. There's real estate and someone's died, so they might need a probate.
Okay, so pre-probate means somebody's passed away. It doesn't mean that they're actually intending on going through probate at any time, but we at least have a piece of data that shows somebody's passed away, and then we reach out to them and say, hey, do you need a probate attorney? Or, hey, do you need to offload some real estate? I saw that so-and-so just passed away, right? These things cost money. In Phoenix, I was spending about $600 per month for all the leads. I don't do this anymore. Successors Data is about the same. It's about $500 to $700 depending on, miscellaneous things. But when I first started and I was trying to get probate leads, this is what I did is I went to the county recorder's office. And the county recorder's office is like $17 per month for unlimited data. The problem with this data, guys, is that in Maricopa County, if you Google it right now, you type in Maricopa County probate records, you can download this stuff, but it's not in any readable format that actually can be loaded. So it depends, like, is your time worth $17 a month to you manually entering 500, 600, 700 probate leads? I doubt it. Me personally, I'd rather just get it all sent to me. It's already skip traced. It's already done. So like on all the leads, that's already skip traced. On Successors Data, that's already skip traced. With this, it's not even in a format. It's like a big stack of papers. You have to manually enter it in. But if you're on a budget, there is no excuse for you not to go down to your county recorder's office and get that.
And Pace, if you go to the courthouse, it's free.
Yeah.
Oh, is it? It's free at the courthouse?
Yes.
Yeah, you can walk down there. It's
okay, so this is free.
And Ray, do some probates happen where there's not real estate attached to it?
Yeah. Yep. Just because there's a probate doesn't mean there's real estate. So
Right.
There could be a bank account that they're trying to collect or some other asset.
Yep. So the reason that those services are expensive is because they filter it out. They filter out the probates that actually have properties attached to it. That's why they're charging you so much. Not the $17 an hour one or a month one, but the other ones. All the leads are fantastic. They do a good job. I was told that all the leads get their data from U.S. probate leads, but I could be totally wrong. So you might want to check that out and test it out, because I know that they're much cheaper. So I don't know if there's just some packaging going on there or what's going on there.
Interesting. What was it called, Brent?
U.S. probate leads.
Okay, so
then,
U.S. probate leads. I like it. Okay.
And a lot of my students, guys, they use Probates Daily. Yeah.
Love it. Okay, so is that another website?
Yeah. Probates Daily.
Okay, cool. I've never used either one of those. I really, really enjoyed using alltheleads.com.
All the Leads is very good. I used it as well. Yep.
And if they're packaging this data and you can get it for cheaper at US Probate Leads or Probates Daily, awesome, guys. Go check that out.
Probates Daily is pretty much the same pace as All the Leads. But I had a TCP family member that worked at US Probate Leads, and he said that they sell their data to them. So that just might be, I don't know, right?
Amazing. That's good to know. I didn't know. I never even heard of that, but that's amazing. I love it. So the sixth thing is, guys, some people might be paying attention going, why does Pace not use alltheleads.com? If it was so good, why are you not using it anymore? The main reason is because I go straight to the source. Okay. For me personally, I go directly to the probate attorneys and I just do the deals where the attorney introduces me to their clients.
Yeah.
And Rylus, will you kind of walk through how that happens? If a client comes in your door and they have real estate to sell, what does that process usually look like between you and I?
Yeah, so a lot of times they're not a client of mine yet. You know, they're calling, you know, someone died, you know, I'm asking what the assets are, what's out there. If there's real estate, I usually ask, you know, what are the plans for the real estate? You know, trying to get a sense of what they're looking for, what they're looking to do. Like if it's a case where it's a single beneficiary and the only asset is a house and they want to live there, then that might be hard for me to get paid, right? If they don't have the money to pay me now, if I do the probate and they keep the house, they're still not going to have the money to pay me. So I'm looking at those factors, but let's say there's a house and the kids are out of state. That's what happens a lot. And a lot of times I'm one of their first calls, so they don't know what to do yet. Usually there's a realtor on the scene. You know, I ask them, hey, what are you doing with the house? Have you talked to a realtor yet? And a lot of times they have, right? Someone's already there. You know, the realtor was, waiting for them when they showed up.
Usually the realtor's chasing the ambulance, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So, and they're always super nice, you know, that's, you know, a lot of times it's a friend. But what I'll say is, you know, before you hire a realtor, what I recommend is that you look at other options. You know, depending on the condition of the house, you might be better off to sell it for a cash as is. And that way you're not going to pay any commissions, any closing costs, and you know exactly what the price is. What you have to be careful of is a realtor could make all these promises just to get the listing. You know, they may say the house is going to sell for this or that, but all they care about is getting that listing agreement where they tie it up for 6 months or whatever it is, and then they can lower the price to whatever, and they're still going to get their commission.
Brent and Jamil, can you imagine getting a lead directly after Rylus tells his client those exact words?
It's the best. Yeah,
and then I'll give them one more warning too. I'll say, be careful with wholesalers. You know, there's a lot of people out there who also, they may promise you everything. They may promise you a good deal, and day of closing, they'll come back and try to renegotiate with you. So you got to watch out. There's a lot of sharks out there.
Yep.
So I would say I recommend that you start with one of my people, someone that I trust, that I know will give you good information, whether they want to buy your house or not. I know that they'll give you good information.
When you're looking at it, Rylus, from our perspective, if you're getting these lists from one of these sources, who is the right person to talk to? What are they called on there? Are they called something? Is it something specific? Are they a beneficiary, a personal representative? Who should we talk to that actually has or should, you know, once the probate goes through, they should have the right to make a decision?
Yeah, great question. So you want to talk to the decision maker, and who is that decision maker? Now, and sometimes there may be someone that's kind of running the ship, doing everything, but maybe it's their brother or their sister who's actually named in the will as a personal representative. So what you want to figure out is who's going to have the authority. So if there is a last will and testament, that will usually name the personal representative who's going to be in charge. Now, if there's not a will, what you do, you look up the laws of intestacy in your state. So you see who the default beneficiaries are. And then you're going to need a family tree as well. So you need to figure out if this person's married, if they had any kids, if their parents are still alive, and information like that to determine who's going to be in charge.
Brent, I got a question for you. So let's say that I go, you got a lot of students using this. By the way, anybody that's a sub-2 student, just want to be really clear. A lot of my students, even though my mentorship is like lifetime, what happens is students after like 8-9 months, they're so busy with their business, they don't tune into like the live schedules on a weekly basis. I'm currently in the process of building an 8-week training course on how to go find Rilus Dana type of probate attorneys and how to work with probate attorneys for free for the sub-2 students. We're currently through week 4. We have 4 more weeks to go. So if you're a sub-2 student, Sergio, I have not seen you in sub-2 in months. So I'm just letting you know, get your ass in there because there's some really good content that Rylus and I are building out right now. You keep asking questions that we've been answering in the private group. So just FYI. So Brent, here's my question. TTP student. I'm a TTP student.
Yep.
TTP alumni, as I like to call them. A lot of your students are using Probates Daily, or they're using USA Probate Lead or USProbateLeads.com. What is a good script that is like an opening line to somebody who's just they have somebody just passed away? Hey, I've got this list. I'm brand new. I'm a brand new TTP student. I download my script and I know somebody just passed away. Am I addressing that in the first phone call? Am I not addressing it? What does that look like?
Great question. And a lot of controversy here because people have their preferences. I have always seen the most success just going with the same script, just asking them if they would consider an offer on their property. The fact is, most of the time they're going to know why you're calling. And if you just hit them with, hey, you know what, this property came up as a probate, and I'm really sorry for your loss, but we specialize in working with people just like you, and blah, blah, blah. In my experience, personal experience, company experience, and just from coaching all around the country, it puts them on their back foot. It's almost like stuff about them that they're like, how did you know that? How'd you get my number? Is somebody snitching on me? Is somebody like giving you, like, who's trying to steal the house? What's going on here? So I just go with a very basic message and ask them if they would consider an offer on that property, just assuming that they already own it. And we're calling the personal representatives at that point.
I love that. So
and then from there, the conversation goes pretty well.
I was pulling a Brent Daniels the last week or so. I was out knocking doors in 109-degree weather.
Yeah.
Except I wasn't wearing a suit. I think when you first started knocking doors, you were wearing like a dress shirt and slacks.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm out knocking doors, and Bryce is like, I was going out with Bryce, who you guys see run the warm-up show. And I go, let's come up with like the top 10 scripts, right? Like, what's the best line to say to somebody you're knocking on their door? Just driving for dollars, not foreclosure, not anything else. Just kind of like general, let's get the conversation flowing. And the one that works the most, whether it's probate, foreclosure, et cetera, is this. It's exactly what Brent Daniels is saying. Hey, my name is Pace Morby. I'd like to buy your house. Or, hey, my name is Pace Morby. Would you be open to a cash offer on your home?
Yep.
Straight and to the point. You don't need, I love that you said that it puts people on their back foot of like, where the hell did you get this information? And who in my neighborhood is ratting me out?
Well, and then as soon as if it comes from a list that's, that you just buy and you get it downloaded, they're going to get anywhere from 3 to 5 calls that day or that week. They know why you're calling. I mean, it's the same thing with a pre-foreclosure. You don't say, well, if you want to save your home, you got to, talk to me type of thing. You just start talking to them about what's going on and open it up and see, if they're willing to let down their force field a little bit so that you can have a quality conversation with them and find the condition of the property, their timeline to sell, their motivation, and their price. I mean, you pretty much know the motivation at that point, but you don't. It's really interesting, and something that I'd want to, ask Rylus is, in my experience, 75% of the people that went through probate sold that property. I mean, it was owned by somebody else within the first 90 days of them completing that probate. Is that pretty typical, Rylus? Do a lot of people keep them? Do a lot of people sell them?
A lot sell them. Now, if it's a surviving spouse or someone like that, where they're probably not going to sell. But if it's a second death, or if it's going down to the kids, then they probably want to sell.
Yeah.
So when I was heavy in probate for a couple of years, it was like my main lead source, probate. I figured out a metric that, at least from my experience, it was about 60% or more people sold in the first 12 months of them going through a probate. Okay. So they finalized the probate, and the average was 60% of people in the first 12 months sold the real estate. It was 30% of people sold in the first 30 to 60 days, like almost immediately. And then the other 30%, they end up either keeping the property or, Airbnb-ing it, keeping it inside the ownership of the family. The reason why so many, 30% sell in the first 30, 60 days, the other 30% take about 9 more months, is because they're still dealing with okay, well, the siblings want to do this, or hey, let's renovate the house, or hey, let's do X, Y, and Z. And then sometimes you'll run into people like, no, we're going to keep the house and we're going to flip it themselves. And then halfway through the project, they're like, no, screw this, I want to sell it. So we learned that we've got more deals from long-term follow-up than the deals we got from calling probate the second it hit the county recorder's office. It was like, if you just stayed on top of the follow-up, you're going to land these deals from people that filed probate 8 months ago. You're going to have a tidal wave of people that are finally like, yes, I filed probate 8 months ago. We completed the probate 8 months ago, and now we're finally ready to sell because we've emptied out the house. We've done an estate sale. We've done whatever. Not that usually they do an estate sale before the probate is settled, but you can the timing is kind of interesting. So we found that most of our deals were from long-term follow-up on probate. And we also found that after the 3rd month of people going through probate, no other wholesaler calls those leads. They stop calling. They only call them the brand new list. Super interesting. And so Anna, I had Anna transfer from my construction company, and she started calling only a list of probate. She got her first deal from a 9-month-old probate, and we made $58,000 on the assignment to Zach Keeps, by the way. And Zach Keeps went and reassigned it for another $50,000. So I would tell people, if you get a probate list from one of these sources, Brent just laid them out. We've got alltheleads.com, successorsdata.com, county recorders are free, is what Jamil and Brent are saying, usprobateleads.com or probatesdaily.com. Don't stop calling them even after the first 30 days. You got to stay on top of these guys all the way through 12 months. Would you agree with that, Brent?
Oh, until they tell you to die or whatever, or just go away, or they've got it taken care of, or they already signed a contract or what, I would still follow up. I mean, listen, there's not a tremendous amount. The truth is, when you sign up for these services, you're getting maybe 50 a month, maybe 70 a month. I mean, it's not like it's overwhelming. I mean, you could call through those in an hour a month and stay on top of all of them, and then just see who filters down to the bottom. Yeah. I mean, that's huge. And listen, you have to you got to look at these things and do a little bit of research, a little bit. I don't like doing a tremendous amount of research, but you got to see what's the condition of these properties. Is it better for them to list it with a realtor because they just remodeled it, or it's a newer property and something unfortunate just happened? That's a lot different than a property that hasn't been updated in 30, 40 years. So you got to really, if you can, maybe have a VA look through it and just give you the stats on the property, or just, let you know which ones are more likely to go after and sell at a discount than others. or potential discount than others, that's what I would do. That's what we do.
One thing to add to that, the likelihood of a probate situation selling to you at a better price than a homeowner is so much greater. And think of it this way. A homeowner that you're talking to, that you ask if they're interested in selling their house, you notice there's some distress in the condition or whatnot, there's still an emotional attachment that these people have because they live there and they think that their kitchen is the greatest. They think their bedroom is the greatest. Their fuchsia wall color is the greatest. But when a family member who might be detached from the deceased, you know, and I'm not talking like children, but like just detached, just a little bit removed from the situation, they've got less of that emotional attachment. They're looking at it as though it's just property. And because of that, they have a greater likelihood of being realistic about their numbers.
One of the more recent deals that we did with Rylus was a deal where he gets a lady, she has siblings, 6 siblings that are all, inheriting the property. And unfortunately, the parents passed away, but they had some of the siblings staying in the house. And so,
the one I bought?
Yeah, that's the one you got. And it was in Las Sendas, right?
Ooh.
You remember that was on the golf course? And what happened is the seller, the person who is the personal representative, was like, I can't sell it this way because I have an unwanted guest in this house and it's a family member. So I can't kick them out without being the bad guy. And I said, let me be the bad guy. And she's like, are you serious? You guys would do that for me? I go, absolutely. This was a deal. Rylus got paid $5,000 on this. I think I made Jamil, you and I both made like 15 grand on it. And then it ended up selling to a fix and flipper that's a good friend of yours, Jacob. And he ended up closing on the deal and actually he had to evict these people, get them out of the property. And he went off to make like 6 figures on that deal.
Yeah, he did really well.
So I'm telling this story because there's a lot of times people are like, honestly, I don't want to deal with this. I don't live there. I don't even live in the state. It's got family members that are involved in the property that I don't want to upset. And I don't want to tarnish my relationships with my family members. I don't want to be the bad guy. Mm-hmm. Probate leads are the best because people, like Jamil said, are so disconnected from, what a typical homeowner thinks about their fuchsia paint. They don't care any less. Like the lady did not bring up the fact that the house was on the golf course because she's like, yeah, it doesn't matter. I don't care. Just get me a number that everybody splits in my family and we all get $50,000. We all walk away.
And take care of my nightmare sister.
And that happens a lot, right? Like, Rylus, how often are you running into the siblings fighting over like vacuums and stupid shit like that?
No, too often. But yeah, that's great value that you can provide as the wholesalers. That's, if you jump on that grenade for them, take over the problem, then that actually saves money for the estate. So that scenario, it's funny. There's a bunch of attorneys involved in that deal. There's like 6 kids and they've lawyered up. So someone was asking me, questions about that, about the house. And it's like, why didn't we sell it on the MLS is what they're asking. And what we would have had to do. So the conversation I had with my client, this was during COVID. We didn't know like evictions, how that worked, if you even could evict someone.
Is that this property, Rylus, that we're talking about, the same one?
It may be. It may be that one. I remember it was like a sister was living there. Then she moved her husband in.
Yes,
and their mom.
One.
And the husband's mom.
Yes, that's the one. Yes, they had a mother-in-law that wasn't even tied to the family moved into the house.
And we just sold it. And then they were asking me, they're like, hey, like, when's the open house? Like, how did this sell? Like we thought we'd see like a sign in the yard. They thought there'd be all this time. But it's like, no, it's over. Like, we don't want to mess with evicting someone, going through all of that. So we just passed it to a new owner who will deal with all that.
So speaking of that benefit, if I'm a wholesaler, I can go to a probate attorney and say, hey, I'll take the grenade and I'll jump on the grenade. I think we talk about for a couple of minutes because we only have 30 minutes. I think Rylus needs to come back as another guest in like 30 or 60 days because there's so much unpack here. There's so much information in probate. And I feel like, do you guys know, TTP, do you know Eric Nix?
Give me a reference.
Okay, I love that your answer is no, because you've met him, but he kind of fell off the face of the earth about 2 years ago, and I'm going to tell you why. It's actually all about probate attorneys. Okay. Jamil obviously knows Eric Nix very, very well. So this is what happens when I deep dive into probate. I start cranking out probate deals. This is probably 3-4 years ago. Okay, and I have a buddy. He's a guy here local in Phoenix named Eric Nix, and he goes, bro, what are you doing? I keep seeing these massive rips that you're making on these big deals. I go, I'm working with probate attorneys here locally, and they're just sending me deals. It's the greatest business model of all time. He goes, oh my gosh. And I teach this model in my coaching course, so I won't go too deep into it because it's a whole multiple step thing. He goes, can you teach me how to approach probate attorneys and walk me through? I go, bro, I'm not going to teach you. I'll help you set up an appointment. I'll go into the appointment. I'll close the probate attorney with you, and we'll start doing some deals together. I'm not joking you. We make one call. We set up one appointment. The next day he gets one deal. This is the third day. What gets his first referral from that probate attorney the next day makes $87,000 on the deal. And he goes, I'm turning off all my other marketing. I'm turning off Instagram, social media. He has never once in the last 3 years, he has not done a single form of marketing except for that one probate attorney has built his entire wholesale business by that one referral source. And when I text him, I'm like, bro, I never see you anywhere. He's like, yeah, I just get like 3 or 4 deals a month from this, John guy. And just, that's it. That's all I need is 3 or 4 deals a month. No marketing spend. It's him. He has no follow-up. He has no CRM. He has nothing. It's an entire business that he makes $500,000 to $700,000 a year doing a couple of deals a month. Working with probate attorneys is the most underrated, most highly profitable, easiest business model you could utilize as a real estate investor. And Rylus is like my friend, right? He comes, we hang out. I see him at parties. Like, I love this guy. And I think my wife might have a crush on him. I'm not sure. Like, we love him. He's like a part of the family, comes over, brings his kids, all that stuff. So if you guys don't have a probate attorney as a homie of yours, make it a point to go get a probate attorney as a referral source. And I can tell you, it's kind of the same thing with Jamil. And I think, Jamil, maybe we should have one of your insurance agents come in as a guest or something, because Jamil has built an entire business model, one stream of income on one referral source of an insurance agent.
I remember him. Yep. Eric Nix. Yeah. From the mastermind.
Yes.
Oh, Brian had to get into his phone and he was like, who's Eric Nix? And
he's a sweetheart, but he fell off the face of the earth because he got one probate attorney that sends him 4 deals a month. He's done. Guys,
referrals. I mean, there's no business like referrals. And let's just unpack it very quickly for everybody to understand. Pace is talking about leveraging probate attorneys. Why? Because you can go down to the county courthouse and get all the data or go to all the leads and pay the money and do all the calling and do all of that. Here's what happens. You talk to a personal representative, you build rapport, you do all this work, you go mow their lawn, you let them into the house, you act as their locksmith, you're helping them with an estate sale, you're moving out trash, you buy the house, you assign the deal. Where's the relationship?
It's gone.
It's gone. It's a one-trick pony.
One time. What Pace is talking about is actually going to the source of continuous business. So you build the rapport one time, you build the relationship one time, you make friends with the one person, right? I use this analogy with my coaching students all the time. If I want shrimp for dinner, do I get into a boat, go into the ocean, take my nets and go try to catch some shrimp? Or do I go hang out at the shrimping docks where all the shrimping boats are selling shrimp at? Right? Rylus is the shrimping docks. That's it.
Yeah, and you guys have a lot of value to bring to probate attorneys. So never mind the cash offer. We get all those things. We know you can do cash offers, but the things attorneys love is to help them inventory an estate, right? If you can help them provide an inventory of the personal property that's there. No one wants to do that, right?
Rylus,
No.
let's expand on that a second, because there's a comment in here by Junior Sanchez, and he says, I thought probate attorneys don't like investors. So let's take that and let's use that comment and help us understand all the ways that we can have probate attorneys like us. What can we do?
Yeah, so the first thing you can do is bring them a client. That's the easiest way. Go right through the front door. You know, give them the work that they want to do. So if you find a situation, you know, this is where like the pre-probate leads come in. If you find a situation where they haven't already started a probate, if someone's passed away and you know that they're going to need a probate, bring them to the probate attorney and say, hey, I have someone that wants to hire you. That's a great intro. Instead of saying, hi, I'm an investor. I want to buy the houses. If you start with, here, I have a client that wants to hire you. You're in.
Quick, Rylus, what is a pre-probate?
I mean, someone's died, but they have not filed a probate with the court yet.
But how do we know that it wasn't owned by a trust?
It might be owned by a trust, but in the cases of all the leads where they're getting their data from, they're pulling it from the probate record, so they know that a probate has been open.
But Successors data has Successors data specifically has pre-probate lists. So if you go to successorsdata.com, they have a list. So I'm going to tell you guys something that Rylus and I just started working on to answer Jamil and Brent's question more specifically, more Jamil's question. So what we're doing is I'm using my title company, right? Everybody, please pay attention to this. I'm going to give you a couple steps to take right now. Everybody write this down. We've got well over 300 people watching live right now. So 300 people should be taking notes. I go to my title company. In Phoenix, the title company we use is Title Alliance of Phoenix. If you guys want to use Title Alliance of Phoenix, they'll do the same thing for you here locally, okay? I go to Title Alliance of Phoenix, and this is widespread. This is nationwide. You can go to a title company and say, who runs your marketing department? I need some mailers paid for, okay? Title companies can't give you referral fees. They can't pay you in a certain way, but what they can do for you is they can pay for mailers, and they have a monthly budget that nobody ever uses. In fact, when you go to a title company and you ask who's in your marketing department, they're like, oh man, they're out like doing lunch and learns and spending $600 or $800 or $1,500 on doing lunch and learns for people that aren't even actually doing any business, right? How many times have you gone to an event or a RIA where it's sponsored by a title company? Guys, that's the title company desperately trying to get your business, okay? They have marketing departments, my title company, and same thing with Brent and Jamil's title companies that they use. You go to the title company and you say, I want to send mailers to pre-probate clients. Okay, you get your title company to commit. My title company has committed $1,000 a month to my business. I could easily get them to go to $2,000 a month if I really pushed hard. Okay, so what we do is I then go to Rylus and I go, Rylus, I want to pay for your mailers as the attorney to send mail to pre-probate clients from your office. And we're going to market to them and say, hey, my name is Rilus Dana from Mott Legal, And when those leads come in your door, you and I have an agreement. Doesn't mean that every deal has to go to me, but when it's appropriate, you are going to refer those clients who have real estate to me. What have I just done? I have number one, showed the probate attorney that I'm dead serious about him growing his business, to the point that I brought a title company to the table and I sponsored that mailer. I then came up with the idea and said, hey, we're going to use this company, successorsdata.com or wherever. Maybe if you're a TTP student, Brent probably has discounts and stuff on some of these other ones. I don't know. Brent, do you have discounts on those?
Probate's daily. Yeah.
Okay, so if you guys go to probatesdaily.com, see if they have pre-probate. So what's great about this is if you go to people who have already filed probate, guess what? They typically don't need a probate attorney, right? Because they've already filed probate. So what we want to do is we want to go to the pre-probate and have you pay for the attorney that you're looking to establish a relationship with, and say, I will pay for the mailers, and I will dedicate at least 6 months of these mailers to see what kind of opportunities we come up with. You got to make sure, write this down, you have a phone number that can track how many calls come in from those mailers. You don't want it just going to the attorney's office line, because that's not trackable. And you can't go back to the title company and say, we got 50 calls in the last 6 months and we got 5 deals from it, and we opened 5 files with you, and you guys made $18,000 in escrow fees, and it only cost us $5,000 to do that out of your pocket. You can't do that. So you got to track it. You got to have a trackable phone number. You just built an entire business model showing an attorney how you care about their business more than they even do. Now, I can tell you in closing on this point, and we'll maybe open up some questions. Most probate attorneys are not mailing pre-probates. They don't even know they can. It's a new concept to them. So you're coming to them with a fresh idea that you will pay for it. Now, I get a lot of referrals from Rylus that don't ever pan out. And every single time I have a conversation with that client, I say, hey, my name's Pace. So happy I got the chance to chat with you. Tell me what's going on. Let me see if I can direct you in the right place. Sometimes that client goes, I'm going to list it with my brother. I go, perfect. Do you need a handyman? Do you need anything else? Anything else I can provide to you? Guys, I am providing value to my probate attorney's business regardless of if I buy that house or not.
Rylus,
that's how you build a long-term relationship.
Where do you get your clients from, Rylus? Is it mostly referrals? Is it network? Is it marketing? Where do they come from?
Yeah, so probably mostly referrals. We do some marketing, some online marketing, some social media, but really mostly referrals is always our highest source. No matter the amount of marketing I'm doing, referrals are always the highest and best.
Right there. We started this show, the 5 things. Number 5, refer business to your work network. That's it. So 1, you're building the probate attorney's business, which is that's how they make their money. And that's how they grow their practice or their firm. And then on the flip side, they're sending you opportunities before specific ones. Obviously, attorneys are going to direct their clients in the best way possible. If it's better for them to do something else, they'll do that. But if it's better for them to just have a cash sale, that's going to be the suggestion, and you're going to be the one getting it because you built that relationship. So
and truly. You can always position yourself to the attorney in a way that's ethical and responsible for everybody, right? Like, bottom line is Rylus is only going to refer Pace a deal where Pace is the ideal buyer. If Pace isn't the ideal buyer, Rylus knows exactly what to do with it. It's going a different direction. He doesn't even have, maybe he'll still have Pace talk to them just for whatever, but if it's that, if it's something that's a beautiful house, they just remodeled the house, the guy had a stroke.
Yep.
Paying for the remodel. Okay, well, here we got it. This is a retail house. There's an agent. We'll send the referral over to the agent, get them top dollar. That way, the attorney knows that you're there for the best interest of the client, and the attorney doesn't have to worry that when he refers you business that it's going to come back to bite him in the ass. They want to hear you understand ethics.
Yeah. And just, there's been a lot of people that Pace has provided a lot of value to where he hasn't bought their house, but it makes me look good. They come back and they say, thank you. Thanks for introducing me to him. I'm not going to use him, or he told me that I can do this, or he told me that I should go this way. So it's always adding value, whether he buys a property or not. And that's what you need to be for the attorney. You need to have that trust where they know that they can send things to you and their clients are going to have a good experience, even if this doesn't fit right in your buy box, even if it's not your ideal property, that you'll still give good guidance and good help.
So a couple of things I want to say. So Rylan says, thank you so much for sharing all this great info. So glad I found your group. As new real estate investor, door knocking for literally dollars and zero knowledge. Great job, Rylan. Great job. Get out and get it done. That's how basically everybody gets their first deal. It seems like is like door knocking or walking their dog for dollars. Like in Jamil's case in 2002. My wife says Pace is a good guy, a nice guy. She's obviously trying to get laid. That's not
Pace.
Don't give it to her, Pace. Don't you do it.
Can you type up and
Hold
put
it out.
Rylus's YouTube channel on the
yes, I'd love to. So a couple of things I want to go over because I think we should have Rylus back here in like 90 days. And what I want to pose is that in 90 days, we're going to come back and give you guys a report on the mailers that Rylus and I do together for 90 days. We're going to see how many phone calls came in, how many opportunities came in, how much did those mailers cost. We'll even bring the title company to the table and explain to you why it makes sense for them to go this route. Because a lot of people are like, wait, what, title companies actually do marketing? Do you ever run into that? Where like your students are afraid to reach out to title companies?
Yeah, they're afraid to talk to their shadows. Pace, it happens. You got to get the confidence out of them, and then they can talk to anybody, right? But
right,
Pace, I want to do a test. I want to split test what you are doing with Rylus versus the mailers that Monique and I send to probates, and see if having an agent increases. If we know the number of mailers we're sending, we can actually take that data and make a great decision, or put them together and create something absolutely magical. Because we're doing the exact same thing, but we're using the buffer of an agent.
Love it. Okay. All right. I am going to give you guys Rilus Dana's web YouTube. Guys, if you got value from Rylus and you want Rylus to come back, let's go and subscribe to his YouTube channel right now. All right. He's amazing. He's one of our good friends. He provides a ton of value.
Now in 16 minutes, guys. In 16 minutes.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
In
So
16 minutes, make sure that you subscribe to his channel.
You guys, if you're a sub 2 student, we've been building out an 8-week course. We're 4 weeks done with the 8-week course. Each week is 2 hours of training of literally starting from zero, how to find probate attorneys in your area, what your pitch and what your first conversation sounds like, case studies of exactly how long it takes to get in there, setting the appointment. Once you're in the probate attorney's office, what do you say? How do you follow up and get leads? Once you do get leads, how do you handle that? And we're currently in the step, I think next week or the week after, when Jamil and my schedule calms down a little bit, we're going to go through and talk about how the probate attorney actually gets paid. Okay, how does the probate attorney get paid? Not just their probate fee, but how does Rylus legally have the ability to get paid a referral fee from doing wholesale and fix and flip transactions with us wholesalers and fix and flippers? That's where the big money is. He not only gets to get paid on the probate, but he gets to be paid on the real estate transaction as well. So if you guys want, if you're a sub 2 student, stay tuned for weeks 5, 6, 7, and 8. If you're not, let us know in the side chat if you guys want us to have Rylus to come back and kind of do high level, overview of all your probate attorney questions.
Can you sub to a probate?
All the time. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Your deal that you sent to me on, actually it's Pueblo, not Adobe. Your deal, I took it through probate. The lady's dead. I own it sub 2. It was in foreclosure. I caught up the foreclosure like $3,000. I paid you. We closed escrow, and then I sold it on a wrap. I sold it on seller finance. So I'm the lender on the deal. I bought it sub 2 and I sold it on a wrap. That's a great deal. I make like $800 a month on that one deal, and I have like $90,000 in equity.
Is the loan still on it?
Yeah.
And I know Pace has helped clients of mine sub to the house for themselves.
Yeah.
After talking with Pace,
sometimes
like,
it
what are you doing?
backfires. What happens is I go in and I get people excited about these sub 2 transactions, and they go, wait, so I can just keep the debt in place and just transfer the ownership to like somebody else's name? I go, yeah, it's called sub 2. It's what I do. I'm the sub 2 guy. And the clients go, can you just like teach me how to do that for myself? And I'm like, dang it.
But of course he does. Pace.
Yeah,
he's not going to be like, nope, not going to tell you, not going to show you.
All right. So I walk them through it, and they're like, how much is it going to cost me? I go, I'll do it for free. You came from Rylus. I'll do it for free. But the deal, Brent, that one deal that you and I did together, there was a loan from Hughes Federal Credit Union. Okay. There was a loan for $47,000 on the deal.
Yeah.
And I put that in first position. I then created a second position in my name for about $100,000.
Yeah.
And I sold it to a buyer. So the first is still in place. I created a second in my name and I sold it basically as a wrap, where I wrapped those two things together. That's what a wrap means, everybody, is we wrap two loans together essentially. And I sold it on seller finance for essentially $169,000 with $22,000 down.
And Rylus, in a probate, the debt doesn't have to get paid off when it transfers?
No, not a secured debt like that. They're secured by the house itself. Unsecured creditors in a probate, we have to give them notice, and then we have to satisfy the claims, like credit cards, things like that.
If the bank finds out that they're deceased, is there a due on sale?
Probably.
Yeah, just like if they found out that I transferred the deed, if they wanted to, they could do the due on sale.
Right. Got it.
Yeah.
So that you could just keep the debt on there forever, right?
You could keep the debt on there forever. So if you're ever worried about the due on sale clause, my suggestion for anybody that's paying attention, an easy way around the due on sale clause is instead of buying it sub 2, so you could buy it sub 2, which means I now have transferred the deed into my name, right? I own the deed and I have the deed. I say, don't buy it sub 2, buy it in Arizona. We call it an agreement for sale,
right?
Which means that the agreement for sale is I own the property for all intents and purposes, but the deed stays in the seller's name. And then when the house is paid all the way off, then I get the deed. Why don't I do this every time? Why don't I just buy on an agreement for sale? Is because if I own it on an agreement for sale, there's one magical thing I don't have, and that's my depreciation, which is my tax benefits.
Right.
And I love depreciation. So I prefer sub 2 because I get all the cool benefits of not having to pay taxes on my income.
Mm-hmm.
So I have ran into due on sale clauses, but they've never come from somebody passing away. Due on sale clauses typically come from people not paying their mortgages or setting up the insurance incorrectly. So interesting stuff, but that's the stuff that I teach in some of the stuff I teach in sub 2. Rylus.
Yes.
What else are you working on? There's something super interesting that you're working on. We got 10 more minutes. I think we should have you come back as another guest where we talk less and you answer more questions, just as like a rapid fire. Cause I think we have like 30, 40 questions in the side chat we didn't even get to. What are you working on with the digital asset trust? What is that? What's this unique thing that you're working on?
So, part of my unique estate planning approach is I've developed a way. A lot of information is now digital. When I started this business, people were getting mail. And after someone passed away or suddenly became ill, a good way to figure out what they owned is start getting their mail and see what's come in. So the modern approach to that, since things are going to email, I've created a digital asset trust. And there's laws passed in every state that allow this since 2016. So as part of our planning, we say, all right, give my trustee the ability to get a list of my emails for the last 12 months. They can't read the content. They can just get a list of the emails. And the other thing we do in there, like all the photos on my Apple iCloud, we'll copy to my children. Because if your photos and videos, they used to be in a shoebox in a closet, right?
Yeah.
But now they're on a computer somewhere. And what we're running into is if people haven't, downloaded those pictures, they don't provide a way to transfer them, that's something that we do as part of our estate plans. So I created a course for attorneys that shows them how to do this digital asset planning so they can add that to their business. And so I can share the link. It's under academy.mottlegal.com. And then I created a discount code for the sub 2 students and all this community. So right now the course is $199 and I have $100 off. I have a sub 2 100 is a code I have.
What is it? Academy what?
academy.mottlegal.com.
MAAT.
Yep.
For anybody that wasn't here earlier.
So that's another way, although it helps me if you're selling my course, but I wanted to give you another way to provide value to probate attorneys. So as you're getting to know and you're getting to work with probate attorneys, you can say, hey, here's, ask them if they're doing that type of planning. What do you do? I love asking attorneys that question because most don't have a good answer. But if they don't have a good answer for what happens for the information in the email or the pictures on the phone, you can say, hey, here's a cool course. And by the way, because of my network, I can save you $100 off of that course.
Right. I love that. I just put the link in the side chat. It's academy.mottlegal.com, guys. It's $199 normal. It's a 9 part module. It's something you guys can actually bring to attorneys. You can bring that to an attorney that doesn't do digital asset protection, and give them that value for that course. So go market to them. Aaron Leitz just asked a question. Let's see, where is this question? He said, what if I don't have a deal to bring to a probate attorney? What other ways can I build a relationship? So Aaron, let's go.
Just kidding.
Well, let's go back to this. Okay. So let's say you don't have a deal. Okay. I know Aaron Leitz. He's one of my great students. He has a really demanding job. He's like number one in his entire company. Very demanding job. So for him, it is challenging for him to go out and get deals during, Monday through Friday. So his question is very important for himself specifically. Aaron, let's go back to the conversation. Look what Jamil's doing with Monique Walker, a real estate agent here locally. Look what I'm doing with Rilus Dana here locally in Arizona. And Aaron, you can use Rilus Dana as well. I know you guys actually have a relationship. Go to a title company, have them help you pay for the mailers, and go to a probate attorney. Nowhere in there did I say go find a deal. Now, that's one of the pieces of advice is go find a deal and bring that to a probate attorney. But what if you don't have a deal? Go to them and say, I will help you pay for marketing to pre-probates. I want to develop a relationship with you. Let's go do this for 6 months and see what comes of it. You don't have to have a deal or even any experience really in that situation. What you need to do is go find a title company that will help you pay for the stuff. Go find a probate attorney that gets excited, and then squad up with somebody in your local area that can help you actually do the deals. A TTP student, an Astro student, a Sub 2 student.
You could also get that list, skip trace the pre-probates, call them up and say, hi, I know this is out of the blue, Melinda, but I wanted to see if you would consider an offer on your property there. Well, I don't own that property yet. It's my so-and-so just passed away. We have to go through the courts now. Oh, really? Do you have a really, really excellent probate attorney to work with you guys in the family? No, we're trying to decide it. We're getting this mail. We're doing this. We're figuring it out. We've got a lot of loose ends. I've got the absolute best probate attorney on planet Earth. His name is Rilus Dana. I would love, do you mind if I give him your information and set up something between you two so that this could go really smooth? Yeah, great. Boom, 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 boom. There you go. You know what I mean? Like, you could do that today. You could do that in 30 minutes from now. Pre-probate, get the number, call them up like usual, connect. It's all talking to people.
Speaking of talking to people, I'm very sorry that I've been talking so much this episode. I promise I'll talk less in other episodes, but I do want to give you a shameless plug for myself. So I've got this 3-week training coming up. Have you guys, I haven't talked to Brent or Jamil about this. Have I?
Nope. I know a bit about it.
So I get this question all the time. How do I get started? Right. And then also, how do I go step by step? I need to be told step by step. Like, do I put my right foot first or do I put my left foot first? My answer to this question is going to be 3 weeks of my business partner, Matthew Beard and Cody Barton, starting in North Carolina, Charlotte, North Carolina, virtually 3 hours per day. We're not going to train you. We're going to show you how to start a real estate business from scratch, 3 hours per day, live. So it's going to be a lot less Q&A, just straight up, here we go, let's get started. And what I'm going to do now that Brent just brought this up is I'm going to show you guys how quickly you can get on the phone with these pre-probates. And we're going to just get on the phone and start calling. And I'll show you in one of these days how to get a pre-probate lead, refer them over to a brand new probate attorney in a market I've never worked in, show you guys exactly how to have that conversation. And we're going to be doing it live. So I know a lot of people in here like Aaron Leitz, Medium Wave Dave, a lot of other people are part of that live. We limited it to 500 people and it booked out in literally 30 seconds. Like, boom, booked out. We will make it available on YouTube at some point, but right now it's only available to the 500 people that have already signed up. But Brent told you it really is that easy. Where would I go to get that list, Brent? Where would you suggest?
Pre-probates, I mean, they've got it. I looked at it. They've got it at Probates Daily. They got it at US Probates. They got them at All the Leads, I'm sure, Successor Data. I think it's getting more and more popular. But, you know, instead of hitting them up and being like, hey, do you want to sell, blah, 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 and then just hammering them and getting rid of them, yes, you open up with do you want to sell, get a little bit of the information, and then you can refer them to an incredible probate attorney in your market.
Amazing. Everybody in the comments, do you think we should have Rilus Dana come back in the next couple of months? And I think Jamil's got a really good idea. I think we should compare data. Jamil, the challenge with Rylus on my side, just FYI, is that Rylus wants to only market for his practice in specific zip codes. So we should sit down with each other over the next couple of days and have that conversation, because I think it would be fun to do a case study, compare, contrast how much money is being spent, how many phone calls are coming in, what does that look like? Maybe we tag team and we become the largest probate conglomerate in Phoenix, Arizona, and we just munch down all the cookies. A lot of people are saying, yes, 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 bring Rylus down. Super, super valuable. Absolutely. Scott Barker, yes, please have him back. Nancy, yes, yes, yes. Kristen, yes, we want him back, Hussein says. Roger Bremer. Leo Aguirre says, hell yeah. So, bro, we got a lot of people that love you, and I'm sorry that I spoke way more than I normally do, or maybe exactly the same amount as I usually do. I don't know. But I think that this was a great start. Maybe we do like a 3-part series on just probate stuff and have Rylus come back. What would that look like next time? Should we just have Rylus just fire off answer after answer after answer from the comments?
Yep.
That could be fun. That was like our first sub 2 Zoom. It was fun.
Right. It's surprising how many questions people have about probate. It could go on for hours and hours and hours. And people have very specific questions like, I have somebody that the sibling doesn't want to sign, but this sibling does. What do I say? What's the right thing to do? Those types of questions I think would be really good to answer on a live, maybe in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, or we can go through, I have one video like this on my Mont Legal channel, but how to evaluate a deal is what I walk through. And I drew out my stick figures with X's for the dead ones and who's living, you know, because that's how I go through and figure out, you know, okay, they were married. All right, is their wife alive? You know, do they have kids? You know, you got to, you know, figure out who the players are.
Love it. Well, Rylus, thank you so much for coming in, brother. You are amazing. I think it's definitely not enough to have you in here for an hour and a half. I think we need to have you in here a couple more times, give people the value that they deserve. Let me give you guys his YouTube link one more time. And I want you guys to go over to Mott Legal's YouTube channel. So subscribe over there. I'm clicking on the link right now. Boom. There you guys go. Go subscribe to his YouTube link after this, guys. Please give him some love, and we'll have him back in future episodes. Rylus, if somebody wants to get a hold of you, they're in Arizona, they're in California. How do they get a hold of you, like in the next couple of days? Is it only through your website?
That's probably the best way. It's got my phone number there. So my website is Dana Legal Help. So that's where I practice law in Arizona and California. Mont Legal, I do a lot of videos. Like some of those are tailored to wholesalers and things like that. Information, you know, general information about probate. But my law practice is danalegalhelp.com.
Okay, got it. DanaLegalHelp.com.
Love it.
Yep.
Brent Daniels or Jamil, do you guys want to take us home?
I got something real quick, Jamil, and then you can take us home, brother. This is something I wrote. This is hilarious. I keep all these notes and they go in my desk and whatever. This is from 2018. Listen to this. This is what I wrote. 2018 should be a record-setting year because there is no inventory. This is 2018, right? Which means the people sourcing the deals are going to get paid the most. Eliminate the drama, no negative emotions, no complaining, no more silly excuses. 2018, I was talking about there was no inventory, right? Just like I've been hearing since 2012 that the market's going to crash and burn and you better go buy crypto. I mean, it's crazy, right? It's just, I'm telling you, man, what a business. What a business. Go ahead, Jamil.
Well, guys, I think this was probably one of the most informative and amazing episodes of Wholesale Hotline I've been able to be a part of. Rylus, you are not only a friend of the show, you're a friend of ours. We love you. You're so generous with your time. You are so helpful to this community. It's amazing. Guys, if your mind was blown on today's episode, if you are so floored by the information you got that you died and you're going to need a probate attorney, then do us a favor.
You're too fast.
Download this episode, share this on your platforms, and let everybody know Wholesale Hotline is the way to go. We will see you next week, baby.
Yeah!
Appreciate all you guys. Thank you. See you guys next week.
Love you guys.
Love you guys.
Later.
Or just say squat up.
So squat up and enjoy the show.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
1, 2, 3.
So squat up and enjoy the show.
What are you doing?
I didn't say nothing.
Why?
I don't know.
Okay.
So squat up and enjoy the show.